Hello everyone, and today we will tell you about a film in which a doctor conducts a special treatment called Dangerous Method 2011.
Describe it to me.
The film begins with a demonstration of a young girl accompanied by an officer because she is being taken to a clinic where Dr. Jung will treat her, but Sabina is sure that she is not sick. The doctor then suggests that he examine her daily, and that's it. He will be sitting in the back, and under no circumstances should she turn around. She also needs to understand what the causes of her nervous breakdowns are hidden in. Sabina is sure that it is because of any humiliation that seizures are provoked, after which she abruptly falls silent. The doctor notices this and asks what she was thinking, but Sabine doesn't know. Then Jung asks a couple of leading questions, learning that this is an image of her father's hand. A little later at lunch, he tells his wife that he is going to use an experimental technique that no one has used yet, and continues the treatment, during which he says that he will have to leave. Even more exasperating Sabine, Jung lifts his cloak, followed by shaking, awakening a new attack. Back at the clinic, Sabina decides to play with the food, which the nurse notices and passes everything to Professor Bleimer. However, when he entered the ward, Sabina disappeared somewhere, but was quickly found in a nearby pond. The nurses immediately pull Sabina away to clean her of dirt. A couple of days pass, Jung returns to the clinic, and he already knows about what happened. According to the rules of the clinic, patients should somehow help the staff, and Jung offers to become his assistant. And since Sabina loves medicine, she is very happy. Already today, they are conducting the first treat. Jung is asking questions, and Sabina is watching the bright spot, one way or another. It is necessary to continue their treatment, causing another attack because of the story about vulgarity. 2 years later, they visit Freud, with whom they discuss the results of psychoanalysis. The key topic is vulgarity, including with Sabine, whose thoughts were the most amazing. Freud suggests that this is a Russian feature. He also mentions that their research is not particularly liked by the other medical community, and even after 100 years, their methods will be rejected. The next day, Jung says that the meeting with Freud was wonderful, but you need to be careful. His every word literally suppresses the ideas of the interlocutors. All his followers are completely faceless. And upon returning to the clinic, they continue to discuss vulgarity. They did not realize yet that Freud had sent a special guest to their clinic who should do everything to slow down his research. Therefore, he begins to introduce the idea of vulgarity towards patients into Jung's head, based on his research. And tomorrow, Sabina decides to kiss Jung with the addition of the address of her residence. Otto is pushing his idea more and more aggressively. All these conversations lead him to think that Otto may be able to convince him of the new principles. Otto escapes from the clinic, leaving a farewell letter, after which Jung violates his principles. And the next day he continues his normal life, where his wife has prepared a yacht with scarlet sails for him as a gift. Because of this, Jung visits Sabine to put an end to their relationship, but events are moving in a different direction. Freud also changes the fact that he sent Otto to him. Plus, he reminds them that they should only work in one area. Any telekinesis research is unacceptable, when suddenly the shelf cracks, and Jung declares that at that moment his stomach ached. So, this is a phenomenon of catalytic externalization. His solar plexus heats up, and he is sure that in a minute, everything will repeat itself, and so it happens. But Freud asks us to understand that this is common nonsense, which does not prevent Sabina from undergoing new treatment after returning home. A new day comes. Jung and Freud decide to take a boat ride, where Freud hints that there are rumors about Sabine's special attitude, but Jung denies everything. He talks about it with Sabina, which is why he will have to leave, because now he is sick himself. At lunch, his wife says that she sent anonymous letters. Jung immediately calls Sabine because her mother received an anonymous letter in which he promised that he would see Sabine only within the walls of this office, having received a reduction. And in the evening, Sabina writes a letter to Freud himself. He also unsubscribes to Jung so that he himself tells whether what is written in this letter is true. Jung assures him that the kindness he showed to Sabine turned into revenge, and he will be glad if Freud takes his side. A couple of days later, Freud writes to Sabine herself, whom he assures that his colleague is not capable of such actions, which is why he asks her to forget the doctor, upsetting Sabine. But this does not prevent her from seeing a doctor again, since Jung decided to completely retire from the medical field. But Sabine only wants Jung to write to Freud again and tell the whole truth, because she wants to become his patient. 3 days later, Freud receives another letter with all the confessions, but they still go to America together. Towards night, Jung tells about his dream in which, while inspecting luggage, he noticed a man in an old imperial uniform. But here's the problem. Another passenger told him that there was no one there. Maybe he saw a ghost. This means only one thing. His consciousness is somehow connected with each other, as for example, they used to exchange ideas without any doubt. Now everything is completely different, after which Freud already declares that he also had a dream, but he will not talk about it, so as not to drop his authority. After a while, the ship arrives in America, and while Jung is sure that the future awaits them here, Freud, on the contrary, calls it a plague. Switzerland, September 25th, 1910. Sabine comes to Jung as she has prepared a dissertation, a topic that Jung simply needs. He also adds that when he left the clinic, he thought that everything would be left behind, but now there is simply no end of clients. But he will be able to find time for her dissertation, although Sabina wants only one thing: to work together. Jung is well aware that this is a huge risk, but he is confident that they will be able to cope with it. About the next Tuesday at the same time, they talk about everything and all the guesses that follow from this, which completely destroy Freud's theory at the subsequent training. After a while, Sabina finishes her studies and receives a diploma. It remains to find out where she wants to go. But during this time, Jung has completely changed and asks not to go anywhere. 2 years later, on April 17, 1912, Freud discusses Sabine's work, which is being promoted in all communities, and even he begins to suspect that it is not unfounded. However, he is shocked by the mention of Christ at the end of the work, as it goes beyond the scope of medical practice. Professor Jung could not succeed him because of this, because how can you be a doctor when your head is full of cheap mysticism? But he died in front of his eyes after he lied to Sabine, and Freud had business with her, an offer to take some of his patients. A few days later, a business meeting begins, at which Freud becomes too ill. The same evening, Jung sends a letter in which he writes everything he thinks about him, as if Freud decided to imagine himself as God. And Freud immediately sends an answer, where he denies everything, putting an end to their so-called friendship. On July 16, 1913, Sabine visited the Jung family, by which time Jung had completely withdrawn into himself and did not accept new visitors. Because of what Emma asks Sabine to help him, at a personal meeting, Jung assures her that Freud's methods are dead end. You need to find a way out when the patient can find himself. He died of starvation in Berlin in 1919. Freud was exiled by the Germans and died of cancer in 1939. Sabina returned to Russia to teach medicine, but left this world in 1941. At the moment, the film is coming to an end. Thanks for watching. If you liked the video, then don't forget to subscribe. See you very soon. Bye.